The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. Albert Camus. Sisyphus is a prominent figure due to his symbolic punishment, and also polarizing because of the implications of his story on humanity. But how did he become molded into the icon of today? The ancient Greek writer, Homer, hands down the most iconic version of the myth of Sisyphus. However, his authorship has been disputed over time due to the belief that the poems followed the Greek tradition of being performed orally by bards. The work in which Sisyphus is best known for is from the Iliad and the Odyssey. However, the myth of Sisyphus is unique in that it is pieced together and expanded with information through numerous other writers, such as Pausanias's Description of Greece and Apollodorus's The Library of Greek Mythology. Sisyphus, king of Epirus, later Corinth, was known as the craftiest man alive. Zeus, the king of the gods, kidnapped the nymph Aegina in the form of a massive eagle or a flame. Aegina's father, Aesopus the river god, chased him to the island. Sisyphus informed Aesopus of where his daughter had been taken, earning himself the ire of Zeus. Zeus ragefully ordered Thanatos, the personification of death, to chain Sisyphus in the underworld. Sisyphus, ever clever, asked Thanatos to show him how the chain worked, just as he was meant to be in prison, binding death and escaping to the land of the living. As Thanatos was imprisoned, no deaths had occurred, throwing the world into chaos, which upset Ares as war became boring and thus Ares freed Thanatos. Knowing the end was near, Sisyphus asked to be thrown by his wife into the town square, from where his body washed up on the river Styx, approaching Persephone, queen of the underworld. He claimed that his wife did not maintain proper burial rites, and Persephone granted him the ability to continue living and punish Merope, his wife, returning once the deed was done. Of course, Sisyphus didn't abide by his agreement. It was dragged back to the underworld by Hermes. Sisyphus was cursed to roll a massive boulder up the hill, and just as he was about to reach the top, the boulder would roll back down, undoing his work for all eternity. The myth ends tragically in the way that Sisyphus is punished with a futile task. His efforts will always amount to nothing. Sisyphus is an obvious example of hubris through his arrogance and his belief that he is cleverer and able to evade the punishment of gods and even the natural order, death, and the life cycle. The Sisyphus myth is not ideological. The lesson to ancient Greeks and Romans is that they should never think themselves smarter than the gods. Sisyphus in modern times is often related with time loop narratives, such as The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, and cartoons like Wile E. Coyote. In Majora's Mask, Link, the protagonist, must save the land of Termina in 3 days before the moon crashes into the town, and chooses to reset the timeline to save the people of the town, despite knowing that evil will always rise again, and his task is ultimately fruitless. Conversely, Wile E. Coyote is a relentless antagonist to the Roadrunner, who, despite his efforts, will never catch and eat the Roadrunner. Despite time and time again, Wile E. Coyote does not stop his quest, even though, historically, he cannot catch the Roadrunner. Though Sisyphus may appear as a tragedy, his task has become a symbol of the human struggle in the modern age, the joy in finding purpose in the meaningless world, giving our view of the man, the myth, the legend, Sisyphus, a brighter outlook. This is my works cited.